Welcome to the CE Pro podcast. I'm Executive Editor Arlen Schweiger. One of the most prominent companies in the custom industry has always been Crestron, and the man who's been leading the charges there since founder George Feldstein's passing nearly 7 years ago has been CEO Randy Klein, who recently announced he would be retiring in the fall and handing over the reins to COO Daniel Feldstein. I had the chance recently to talk with Randy about why now is the time to say farewell to Crestron after 30 years with the company, and why it's in great shape going forward.
As always, be sure to subscribe to CE Pro's YouTube channel and hit that like button on our videos, or subscribe to the CE Pro podcast on Apple and Spotify and leave a review. Randy Klein, President and CEO of Crestron Electronics. Thanks so much for joining the CE Pro podcast.
Great, thank you, Arlen. President and CEO for now.
Right. Well, Randy, obviously we're really
extraordinaire, right?
Yeah, we're we're really grateful you can make the time for us, because I'm sure it's going to be a whirlwind couple of months for you. The timing of this, basically, you announced your retirement from Crestron recently after a long tenure that includes the past 8 years as CEO. And so I know it's coming up in the fall, and I'm sure you're going to be making the rounds and your phone's going to be ringing off the hook. But Randy, just for starters, why is now the right time for this move, and to hand over the reins to Dan Feldstein, current COO?
Well, thanks, Arlen. Sure. I guess first thing that comes to mind, I don't think there's ever a right time. Something that you've built and you've loved more than anything, just about more than anything. Maybe I got to be careful there, but I don't know if there's a right time for anything. But now it's for a number of reasons. Bottom line is, I've spent 31 years here. I've spent almost half a century in this business, this industry. It's the only thing I've ever known and done. I'm healthy. I'm in a position fiscally and otherwise that I can do it. I have spent all my life, and those people who know me, is I'm a 100% person, or 110% person. Everything that I have done, and I've given 110% to this company and this industry, and I don't have any outside interests. I don't have any hobbies. I have nothing. And I said, you know what? It's time maybe that I spend a little time on myself and my family, and maybe someday I'll get good at golf. But you know what? The number one reason, if there is a reason, is more important than anything, and dear to my heart than anything, is the company is healthy, and the company is in better shape and condition than it's ever been in the 31 years that I've been here. And I've seen a lot in 31 years. And it's something I've thought about for quite a while. This decision was made many months ago, but we're in the middle of a pandemic. The future is a little unsure and uncertain at that point, and there's no way, that I was going to do anything until, more importantly, the company is ready. So it's kind of like all the people that I've worked with for so many years and decades. I can't kind of think of them as students, and now it's time for them to graduate and go on to the next level. In fact, I don't like to use the word retirement. I was just talking to somebody this morning. I have to figure out another word, because retirement sounds like you're stopping everything. I'm just kind of, graduating to the next thing, to the next level.
Yeah, it's the next chapter.
Right. Yeah.
or the master's course, or if you want to call it that. So obviously the company is very healthy. We've covered a ton of Crestron products that have come out over the last year and a half, especially during this pandemic. So what's gotten us to this point where you said, okay, I feel like the company is in the right shape right now? And then how did those conversations work? If you could share some insights with, did you broach it with Dan and others, at the executive level? Did you keep it a secret and say, hey, all right, how did you break the news to them? Or was it kind of a collaborative process almost?
Well, again, first off, Dan and I have a great relationship. It's nothing but transparent and open, and it's not like we've been saying, hey, someday when I retire. But I mean, it's kind of like when you feel like you just feel like it's something to do and time to do. He's young, much younger than me. It's time for him. I've had my time. I know deep down inside that I'm leaving again. And first off, I'll never leave. I might be physically leaving, but man, this place this is in my heart and my soul and everything that embodies me after all these years. And so it's not going to leave. It's just that physically I will leave. But we talked about it and came to the conclusion. And again, timing had to be worked out and everything. And here we are.
Great. Let's talk about some of those factors that did lead to the company's health and where it is now in terms of, Crestron Home coming out, everything else that's come out with the work from home types of products. What have been some of the driving factors behind the latest residential? We stick a lot to the residential side. Obviously,
Right.
Crestron continues to do very well on the commercial side too. But in terms of the residential side, what's driving those product development right now, and really positioning the company to be where it is with kind of an expanding portfolio?
Right. Well, first up, before we get to the driving factors of our product development, going back a couple of notches, people always ask me, what accomplishments that I'm proud of the company, and they kind of lead to your question, is the accomplishments that I'm proud of the company. It's just not 2 or 3 accomplishments. People say, oh, what's the biggest accomplishment? We don't have the biggest accomplishments because there's so many, and I've seen so many over the years. And the thing that I think that all of us here are so proud of is we built this company to where it is today from the ground up, and we built it, one customer and one sale at a time, and one relationship and one partnership at a time. Not $1 or element of growth through acquisition or getting all these other smart people from outside industries. It's just us guys, learning and building along the way, and one customer at a time. And that, I think that really ingrains into the culture of this company about the customer being number one, the customer experience, the customer partnership, whether it's the end user or the dealer. Customers are so true and valuable to everybody at this company, because that's what got us here. And that's what fuels and propels everything else, meaning product development and so on and so forth. And so when they say, what influences, you ask what influences the product development, or what factors and trends, the number one trend or the number one factor is customer experience, the user experience. Everything we do is driven by that customer or user experience, the value proposition to the end user, and especially to our added value channel. As people know, we have 2 main divisions of our company, the residential and the commercial. Both are equally critical and important to the success of this company. And as such, many years ago, we created, people say divide, and I don't like to use the word division, but we created a separate residential business unit, separate from the commercial. They have separate sales and marketing. They have separate customer support. We have separate R&D departments. So the only thing that is common, or maybe some of the real core infrastructure of the company, like supply chain and finance, but we actually do have separate divisions inside the finance department for customer accounts and things like that, because they are different. They are different. And I think that's what's most important, and that's what feeds into the success of the residential part of our business. But it's important also to note that both commercial and residential, they feed off of each other, and they help help each other grow, and they help each other drive through technologies, through customer experiences, through sales and marketing. They might be different businesses, but they're very, very closely knitted and integrated and contiguous here inside the company.
So Randy, in terms of fostering that company culture that's able to, feed those different end users, but really always looking for that customer experience. And we know that just from the company culture standpoint and customer support, Crestron is always lauded in our Quest for Quality awards that are the support awards to their dealers. How have you and the company, since you've took the reins after George Feldstein's passing way back 2014, how have you been able to continue that legacy and create things that where everything is focused, laser focused on that user experience, whether it's the internship program or other developments within the company?
Well, truthfully, it's not a matter of George doing this and then Randy taking over and going back some 31 years. George and I have been pretty close together. We've worked side by side. He did his thing, I did my thing, and together we joined to the true 1 and 1 equals 3. You have to have great technology to produce great user experience, but you have to have the great sense of appreciation of the customer, everything else that embodies the customer and user experience, whether it be marketing or customer support or sales. Excuse me. It was right down to many, many years ago when I said to George, you had some nice products, but if nobody buys them, then nobody gets to use them. So what? And so sales is my background. I said, we need to, we're sitting here, this company in New Jersey, and relationships with our customers are absolutely critical. How can we establish relationships with our customers here across the country? And the first thing I said is we're going to open an office on the West Coast. It's many miles away. It's 3 time zones. Culturally it's different. How can you establish a great relationship or partnership with your customers and your end users and support them? Because these weren't sales offices. Salespeople, and I'm one of them, you can sell, and I think nowadays the office for a salesperson is Starbucks, right? But these offices were for customer support and for training, and that's what this was always built around. Before I got here, we didn't have a customer support department. It's easy to sell something once, but without great customer support, you don't get the second and the third sale. And more importantly, you don't develop and you don't keep that relationship, that truly valuable and critical relationship with your customer. Again, whether it's our resellers or the end user.
So let's talk about in terms of customer and dealer relationships. From the customer side, obviously, and this is something where for people like me who got into the industry, going on 15 years ago, when I was thinking of, it was before kind of smart home really started becoming mainstream. But I was looking at a company like Crestron and seeing all of these technologies, true custom experiences of home automation. And it was certainly, just remarkable to see. Now I think 15 years later, I think people, smart home has become the buzzword, but I still feel like there's kind of a misperception out there of, what smart home is, but more importantly, what smart home could be through professional dealers. So I want to get your take on, from a company that has specialized in smart home since before it was called that way, where do you see this standing in terms of how are we able to elevate customer awareness of, what they could have when you see what's out there in our industry these days?
Well, great question. And I'll first tell you, I don't necessarily agree that smart home is the word and smart home has been using, and that is the word referred to now. I think we don't think of ourselves as being in the quote smart home business. I think that's just a catchphrase, honestly, or a catch-all phrase. Everybody that makes something that goes into a house, that's technology, calls it part part of a smart home. We are a very, just like when I said we have a separate R&D, sales, marketing department for residential, we have a very high quality, purpose-built technology and product line for a total end-to-end solution in today's homes, and honestly, higher-end homes. We made a mistake some time ago to try to like everybody else, to chase those riches and race to the bottom, but we reversed course very, very quickly. We're a high quality, purpose-built, end-to-end technology solution. But life and trends and everything they change and they evolve. And we will always continue to lead that charge and build or try to help shape an industry. As greatest example, or the biggest example today, is this work from home thing, as everybody refers it to. That is not going away. Okay, it's not going. Surely we're not down into where we were a year ago, into the work from home in the lockdown mode. Because we weren't working from home. In my view, we were imprisoned kind of in our houses. But we're working from home, and things have life and the work concept is evolving and changing. It's kind of like fashion is evolving and changing. The Levi Strauss is making far more money today than all the big fancy business suits and ties and everything. And so things are evolving, and so will our technology. And we're able to do that because we've got such great people here. We've been here for so long, and we listen to our customers, and we put all that together, and we can be ahead of the curve all the time.
Sure. So in terms of, getting those higher end or more affluent customers to connect with Crestron integrators, clearly you're in talks with Crestron dealers all the time. People around you are talking to your dealers all the time. They find you different ways than mainstream people might find, the average thing that we won't call smart home, but, the average way they'll find solutions. So, if you could think back or even think just now to some of the dealers who have been, obviously Crestron has incredible dealers over there, but are there any that stand out in your mind that, you've talked to that you could think back and say, all right, what an ingenious little way that, that person created a sales and marketing opportunity, or, this Crestron dealer really took on shades to a whole new business model or something like that. Anything like that you can share with us?
The answer is no, Arlen. How would you? I would have to be very careful about that. That's like me asking you, which one of your kids do you like best?
Well, fortunately, I only have one, so.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
But it was a very diplomatic answer on your side.
Look, they are a very diverse bunch, and I can't say there's good ones and they're bad ones. Everybody has the ability to be good and bad on any given day. But you know what? They are, for the most part, they're a very dedicated and committed group of people to us. Like the master's programmers, very dedicated, and in turn, we're equally very dedicated and committed to them. And I'll tell you why. Why are they dedicated and committed? I'll give the same answer that people ask me. He says, well, what do you like most about Crestron, and why are you here? I mean, I've been here for 1,000 years, and I'll answer that just like I'd say about the same as the dealers, because Crestron is the kind of company that provides the landscape and the resources for people to be successful. And we do the same for our dealers. We provide the landscape and the resources for them to be successful. We have our programs. We have our shading program. We have right size guarantee programs. If the dealer messes it up, whether it's their fault or anybody else's fault, send it back and we send you a new one. We have lifetime warranties on our shading products. We provide them the tools and the resources to be successful. We're out there leading the way and the charge in different kind of technologies like AVIP and different kinds of technologies that allows them to provide a greater value proposition to their customers, that allows them better opportunity to provide a level of support to their customers because they're backed by us. And because we always broaden out so much, we started with this control system and this touch panel, and we added on to that thing one product category or one technology at a time. So it's not just a home automation system, it's a platform. Okay, and that platform can be adapted and modified to move to other marketplaces. You have this smart home marketplace, as you call it, but take the high-end residential business and take that platform and adapt it somewhere else, like the yachting industry or the luxury transportation industry. When a company like ours that has such a wide but integrated and connected platform is able to go out into different market segments and provide more opportunity and more successes and more growth for our dealers. And I think that's what, besides being great guys and answering the phone 24/7, 7 days, anytime, anywhere, our success is mutually linked to their success and vice versa.
Randy, we'll let you have the last word on the podcast. And again, we really appreciate your time for being here. In terms of seeing, just everything that the industry has had to offer, the ups, the downs, it's certainly an interesting last year and a half, to say the least. What are some final words of wisdom you have, just for our integrator, obviously our audience, your dealers, and just the industry in general, moving forward as we head into really interesting time with some of the technology out there?
It is interesting times. There's no question about, there's still some uncertainty. There's no question about, there's a lot of questions. But that's why we're here, to provide answers and guidance for those questions, because I believe in all elements of our business, our company is healthy and it's really positioned and poised for more success than it ever has been before, because there's so much opportunity out there. So, parting words of wisdom, I say, I'll tell everybody, just like I tell my kids, just like I tell everybody, and anybody here in the company knows they've heard this plenty of times before. No matter what, I mean, this is oversimplified, but you don't have to have some real complicated thing. You have to work hard and stay focused and committed, and above all, balanced. And that balance thing, to me, that's my number one core principle in life. You have to stay focused and you have to stay committed to this industry and the channel every day. But the balance concept is, I tell everybody, you have to put one foot in the future and keep one foot in the present and move forward in very measured steps, not too fast, not too big, okay? And just don't, if you get out of balance, you tip over. And above all, and we've practiced this from day one, don't bet the farm on one thing. Don't look for that silver bullet. It just takes hard work and commitment and perseverance and belief in yourself, in the people around you, and above all, in this industry. And we'll persevere and win.
And we'll leave it at that. So again, thanks to Randy Klein, President and CEO of Crestron.